After the capture of Acre in 1191, King Richard the Lionheart of England understood that securing the port city of Jaffa was essential before launching any campaign toward Jerusalem. On August 22nd, he led his Crusader army southward along the coast, determined to reach Jaffa. Sultan Saladin, aiming to prevent the Christian forces from retaking Jerusalem, mobilized his army to block the Crusaders' path. Richard meticulously organized his march. With much of the Egyptian fleet destroyed during the fall of Acre, the Crusaders no longer feared attack from the sea and could safely travel with their fleet sailing in close support along the coast. The fleet provided not only supplies and protection, but also evacuation for the wounded. Richard moved cautiously, marching only in the mornings, resting often, and always near water sources, knowing heat and thirst were his army's greatest threats. The army remained in tight formation to guard against Saladin's hit-and-run raids. The Crusaders were continuously harassed by Saladin's archers and skirmishers. However, Richard's discipline held firm. Muslim chronicler Baha al-Din, an eyewitness, described the march, noting that despite the constant rain of arrows, the Crusaders stayed calm and steady. He also observed the superior power of the Crusader crossbows. Frankish soldiers continued marching, even with arrows stuck in their armor, while their bolts struck down both horse and man among the Muslims. The Crusader column advanced slowly, dictated by the pace of the infantry and baggage train. Saladin's mounted forces had better mobility, but their scorched earth tactics failed, as the Crusaders could resupply from the sea. From August 26th to 29th, the Crusaders were left unbothered while hugging the coast near Mount Carmel, as Saladin's army had taken an inland route and reached Caesarea ahead of them. From August 30th to September 7th, Saladin stayed within striking distance, hoping for an opportunity to ambush the Crusaders. By early September, Saladin concluded that light harassment would not stop Richard's advance. He would have to engage with his full force. The Crusaders entered a rare forested region known as the Wood of Arsuf, running parallel to the sea. Saladin planned to use the forest's cover to launch a surprise attack. The Crusaders crossed much of the wood without incident, camping on September 6th near the marshy mouth of the Nahr al-Auja River. Modern estimates place Saladin's army at around 25,000 cavalry, while Richard commanded about 10,000 infantry and 1,200 heavy cavalry. The Templars led the vanguard, while the Hospitallers guarded the rear. The first major attack came once the Crusaders had left their camp and began moving toward Arsuf. Saladin's forces hidden in the woods, suddenly burst forth. Waves of light skirmishers, Sudanese archers, Turkish horse archers, and Bedouin foot soldiers struck first, followed by heavy cavalry, including Saladin's Mamluks and troops from Syria, Egypt, and Mesopotamia. Repeated harassment with arrows and javelins did not break the Crusader line. Saladin then shifted pressure to the rear of the column, targeting the Hospitallers with increasing intensity. Saladin and his brother personally entered the battlefield to rally their men, risking crossbow fire. Despite the relentless pressure, Richard held his line together, resisting calls to charge. He intended to wait until the enemy was fully committed and exhausted before launching a decisive counterattack. Garnier de Nablus, master of the Hospitallers, pleaded for permission to charge, but was repeatedly denied. Richard reserved his knights for the right moment, one that would be signaled by 6 trumpet blasts. Eventually, whether due to impatience or delegated authority, Marshal of the Hospitallers and a knight named Baldwin de Caron broke formation and charged into the Saracen ranks, shouting, "St. George!" The rest of the Hospitallers quickly followed, and French knights nearby joined in. Recognizing the full-scale charge had begun, Richard ordered the trumpet signal for a general attack. The sudden, coordinated counterattack stunned Saladin's army. Some Muslim cavalry had dismounted for better archery and were caught unprepared. The Crusader knights, fueled by rage and vengeance, cut down many of their enemies. Saladin's army collapsed into a disorganized retreat. Richard wisely halted the charge after about 1.5 kilometers to avoid overextending into an ambush. However, some Muslim units regrouped and struck isolated Crusaders who had surged ahead. One such counterattack came from Saladin's nephew, Taqi al-Din, who led 700 elite guards against Richard's left flank. But the Crusaders quickly responded with another charge, driving them back again. This time, Saladin's forces broke completely and fled into the hills, unwilling to continue the fight. The Battle of Arsuf ended with approximately 700 Crusaders dead, compared to an estimated 7,000 Muslim casualties. Though Saladin's army was not annihilated, the defeat was a blow to Muslim morale and a boost for the Crusaders. Saladin was forced to evacuate and destroy several fortresses in southern Palestine, recognizing he could no longer defend them. By securing the coast, Richard placed Jerusalem under direct threat. Although the Third Crusade ultimately failed to recapture Jerusalem, the victory at Arsuf led to a 3-year truce. The Treaty of Jaffa allowed Christian pilgrims to visit Jerusalem and recognize Crusader control of the coastline as far south as Jaffa. Exhausted from years of fighting, Both sides welcomed the peace. Richard soon departed to protect his lands in Europe, while Palestine remained deeply scarred by war.